Okay, welcome back. Now, the first thing I wanted to really cover here was I had to come back and redesign the layout a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I redesigned and also why I did this. So let me zoom in here and get this centered up here. Okay. Now, as you can see, the only element that's really changed is that I've moved the resistors to reduce the size of the board here. I had to reduce the size, the footprint of this circuit so that I could piggyback it on another board. I tried piggybacking it on the original design on other boards, and it took up too much space. Alright, this is the board that I piggybacked the design on, and the section where the LED display is right here. Now you can also see that I've actually got 3 circuits in total on this board right here. The top one here, I can get the back side there for you. The top one is the next Schematic product that I'm working on, and this one over here is just a simple 5-volt regulator power board. Now what's interesting about this is when I was working in PC board, I had to custom create the component for this, and what it is we've got a regulator here, and then these 2 holes are for the heatsink. Now when you're doing something like that, it requires a lot of measurement, and I was really concerned that, of course, it wasn't going to fit properly, which is always a risk. And I would sit here and print out this silkscreen layer and do test fits to see if I had everything lined up correctly, and it looked really good. So I figured I'd go ahead and give the design a shot, and so I went ahead and piggybacked it on this design as well. What was really nice, and I mean a huge surprise, is when I came in here and did the first test fit. And as you can see, it went in perfect. No problems at all. So we're not really interested in this. We're interested in this one section here. And as you can also see, I have a bunch of holes drilled here to aid in the separation of the various circuits. It's unfortunate, but with Express PC boards you can't do a V-line. So you're kind of left with having to come up with other alternatives to separate the board and get the parts out that you want. I just used my drill press and drill out the sections in between the various holes, and that actually didn't take very long, and I was able to break them apart pretty easily, and then threw a grinding stone on the drill press and used it to smooth out the edges. This was a real simple process. So after everything was said and done, this is what I ended up with. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and put this guy together. Okay, I've got all my parts here, everything I'm going to need to build this with. I've got my LEDs, and I've decided to go with 4 green and 4 red. I decided to go with a socket. I usually do go with a socket in prototype because it gives me the ability to easily change the chip if necessary. Since we are using a transistor array here, I'm going with a lower value resistance on the LEDs. We're going to be using 330 ohms, which will make them nice and bright. Here's our right angle connector, and that is going to fit in here just like that. In the interest of time and saving you the boredom of watching me solder this together, gone ahead, put it together, and it's ready to demonstrate. So let's go ahead and see if it's going to work. Now what I've done here is I've already got this inserted into the breadboard. I've got my power and ground set up, and I've got a wire here set up to bias our transistors here. So let's go ahead and start with the first one and see what happens. Haha. Yep, it lights up. Going down the line now. Looking good so far. Yep, there we go. Now the beautiful thing about this is that's it. and you can move it onto your breadboard wherever you need it, and all you got to do is come in here and plug it back in and you're good to go. Now I know the display unit is a little hard to see past these wires and everything, but this is just a temporary circuit I had built to test I2C communication between the core module back here and port expander here. And what we've got going on here is I've got the core module communicating with the port expander, and our little display unit here is showing us the value on the port, and as you can see, it's working great. So this just demonstrates the usefulness of having something like this handy. You can throw it into your breadboard whenever you need it and make use of the LEDs, and then when you don't need it any longer, you can pull it out and put it in storage.